Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Honestly, I'm just so delighted to see so many people out tonight. I obsessed over the fact that the weather was bad, that it was cold, and all of that prevents people from coming out. But I forgot, we're in Buffalo, so we're used to this, right? We can deal with it. Anyway, this is truly a remarkable exhibit. Say their names and honor their legacies is the result of collaboration between the Uncrowned Queens Institute and Yves Richard Blanc of Blanc Photographie. Now, some of you know that I was a French teacher, right? I started out. So anytime I had the opportunity to use, my latent French accent, I tried. So anyway, Yves Richard, remember that, Yves Richard Blanc. We could not have completed this pilot project without the expertise and the commitment of Mr. Blanc. He is an indispensable part of this project, as you will see when we go upstairs to meet him. I didn't say very much about how we got to meet Yves, but he actually contacted us and said he was interested in doing something for the community. He was interested in working with us. And so together, we put the idea of doing the Say Their Names project. But as I said in my opening remarks, we could not have done this without him. He volunteered his time, he volunteered his talent. He's a very special man. He makes it very easy for you to, take a picture. Some people hate being in front of, a camera, and others like me love it. And so, without further ado,
I had last summer, about 15 months ago, I had a severe stroke. I almost passed away. And, my family was around me. And during my recovery, I felt that it was really important for me to give back and do something special for this community. And I had coffee once last summer with my really good friend, Adam Perry. And I told him that I had a thought in mind to do something that was really special, that was different. And his idea was for me to meet with these two lovely ladies. I reached out to them, I told them who I was, what I wanted to do. And off one phone call, one meeting, they asked me to be part of this program. These ladies had already spent 20 years putting this program together. And it was very emotional for me to be part of it. I am a photographer. I tell stories in my own way. And it's been absolutely amazing to work with all these wonderful and great individuals. It's been an absolute honor and a privilege to work with all of you. Thank you very much for your time. We will continue to tell you stories. I am absolutely excited about the program, but this is also part of my legacy. My children, my kids, are very proud of this program.
However, just as importantly, we could not have completed this project without the 11 individuals who were willing to come to Yves' studio for the photo and the video sessions. And I must especially point out and commend 3 of those individuals. Everybody, I thank everybody for making the effort, but Connie, Felton, and Cece braved temperatures that hit a high of 1 degree on the day they came in to talk with us. So I think that's perseverance. All of our honorees, though, gave us their time, and especially they gave us their trust, believing that we would treat their responses to our questions professionally and with respect and fidelity. We are indebted to them, for without them, we would not be here tonight. And I will introduce them shortly. Marcus Garvey once said, quote, "A people without knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots." Garvey's pronouncement represents a core belief that has guided my and Peggy's almost 25-year endeavor to reclaim, document, preserve, and share the historical assets that capture the individual and collective narratives of our African American community. We know that this work requires numerous strategies, including tireless research, adherence to diligent documentation, and the creation of diverse vehicles to share the results of our work. Say Their Names, Honor Their Legacies is an initiative that adds professional portraits and an oral history component to enhance the written biographies of a number of Buffalo's uncrowned queens and kings who have reached the status of community elders. These seasoned leaders have significant stories and insights. Say Their Names, Honor Their Legacies speaks to the urgency of documenting and preserving the first-hand narratives of these history makers. Their biographies span nearly 100 years, including historic and the current turbulent period we are experiencing today. In their words, our honorees share significant life experiences, challenges, and lessons learned. Their experiences mirror those of earlier community leaders and are a source of institutional memory that should be passed on to younger generations today. They offer instructive and inspiring examples of resistance and advocacy that nourish and strengthen our community's roots. Finally, I want to conclude with a brief statement about the current controversy over Black history. We're here tonight during Black History Month, an observance established as Negro History Week nearly 100 years ago, thanks to the persistence of historian Carter G. Woodson. Dr. Woodson's goal was to promote knowledge about the history of Black Americans' contributions to American history. The month represents an historic accomplishment in its own right. But in 2023, Black history is being censored, banned, distorted, ignored, diminished, and vilified. All over this country, individuals, groups, and governments are working to refute the integral role played by African Americans in shaping American history. But I want to mention the sponsors of this program. We're going to hear a little bit from Catherine Schweitzer a little bit later on, but we're very indebted to Catherine, to the Buffalo History Museum, the Baird Foundation, and to the Honorable April Baskin for providing us support in order to get this project done. We're going to hear from Mr. Baskin.
Well, I was born in Pennsylvania, and I grew up in Pennsylvania, New York, and Ohio and Virginia, 1934. Oh, I have a wonderful family. They keep me going, keep me excited. I never really thought I'd have one, but I have one. My parents were from Pennsylvania and Virginia. I think helping other people, that's my most significant. That doesn't cover a number of things, but my thing has been helping other people. I see something that needs to be created or something that needs to be done, and I get busy doing it. Well, my most recent adventure was the African American Veterans Monument, which is located in Buffalo, New York, down at the Naval Park. It took us roughly 6 years to get that done, but we finally have done it, and now we're getting to work on the future of it and raise money for the upkeep and maintenance of it. It tells the truth. I tell people this is the truth. If you have the courage to face it, you'll be a free person, but you gotta have the courage to face it because it is the truth. And we're doing it to educate those that never knew what we did for America. We were the first Americans. Before there was America, we died for it. Christopher Sadix, he was the hero at that time. It took him 2 years to admit that he was the black man. Yes. What most people don't want to accept is that most bullets are colorblind. They kill black, white, yellow, or green. But like I said, when it comes time to say thank you, they don't want to say that to the minorities or indigenous people. Yes, I work in 2 veterans courts. I work in one in Erie County, which was started by Robert Russell, and I also work in one in Niagara County, which was started by Sarah Sheldon. What we do now, we deal with veterans that have felonies and so forth that have been in trouble with the law due to PTSD issues, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. And we get them into court, we get them reformed, reorganized so they can be with their families, put the family back together. We can reduce probably maybe 25 or 30 years with felonies down to maybe 3 years on misdemeanors. Then they're on probation, the family's back together again. I left Emerson High School. I did not want to go to work in a steel mill after going through high school, so I chose the Air Force because that was the way I felt. Also, there was a draft at that time. That's why I was in the Air Force in 1953, was just recently desegregated by Harry Truman. However, the integration was the de facto thing. Even after Eisenhower took office after Truman went out, he did not try to change the situation or make it any better. I served for 22 years in the United States Air Force of America, and I've seen about maybe 16 countries. I was involved in the Korean War, the Peace War, and the Vietnam War. During the Vietnam War, I served in the Battle of Quan Tri, was a pacemaker, and for that I received the Bronze Star. I would say everything counts to me. My life is like a string of diamonds, so every moment counts. It's a bittersweet life, and I love it. The only challenge I see, I haven't seen yet. Oh yes, you gotta have a philosophy to stay alive. My life has been bittersweet. The good moments and the bad moments offset each other. My life is a set of scales, so I can try and keep it balanced that way. And I have to realize that any day can be your last day, so make it a happy day. What I would suggest to young people is what was told to me, is try and find your purpose in life as soon as possible. And that way you have a safer life and a happier life, and you can get more accomplished by doing what you need to do versus doing everything you want to do. No, I'm very happy with what we've covered today, and I think it's an honor to be able to be here at this moment. Thank you.
I want to say something that is near and dear to me about the people in Buffalo who shared their stories and their lives with Barbara. The pieces you didn't see were when people called us at night at home, asking us to come and save the photographs of their families. They asked us to come because someone passed away. They asked us to come and look at the things they had and assess the value of them. They trusted us. They invited us to be with their children. I don't know how many dogs I've had, because they trusted us. They valued what we have to say. And I have to recall at least 2 people who are no longer with us, but were definitely uncrowned queens, who expanded my life by my being able to learn what it was like to lead this life. I think of Mary Alice Boyd, anybody remembers her? And the great Mary Chappelle Cosby. So on saying that, I would like to add, I want to say something about our mayor. And when you have a mayor that serves with you for as long as this one has, you have to say something extra special about him. And so I'm saying, I am very proud to introduce the mayor. Not just any mayor, but this mayor. Why? Because this mayor is a very special mayor. Since 1999, when Buffalo celebrated the Pan Am Exposition of 1901, this mayor supported the initial projects of the fledgling Uncrowned Queens Institute for Research and Education on Women, Inc. This mayor sat on myriad podiums with me and my colleague as we celebrated our uncrowned queens and uncrowned kings here in Buffalo. My files and Barbara's files are packed with letters of thanks, project declarations, mayoral proclamations of thanks, speaking on our behalf when we celebrated African American women in the uncrowned queens in their hats. the 100th birthday of the community icon, Mary Crosby Chappelle, the launch of the Uncrowned Kings Project at the University of Buffalo, the launch of the UQ Digital Kiosk for the Frankie Merriweather Library, our work with John Franklin of the Smithsonian Institute to expand the African American Smithsonian Museum with the addition of the Uncrowned Queens, beginning with Buffalo. Even earlier than this mayor celebrated my efforts with others like Asa G. Hilliard and others from Buffalo who sat on the African Infusion Committee established to ensure that Africa was infused into the teachings in the Buffalo Public Schools. Today, I am thrilled again to introduce this mayor and to thank him for his work in celebrating the people of this fair city, his people, and this project of Say Their Names, the project of the original Uncrowned Queens Institute. Mr. Mayor, please step forward.
Thank you very much, Dr. Peggy Brooks Bertram and Dr. Barbara Seals Nevergold. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's certainly an honor and a privilege to be here with all of you. I want to thank the Buffalo Museum of Science and the other sponsors for sponsoring this important work. I want to recognize my cousin, Melissa Brown. We call each other cousins because we have that great Brown last name. And I want to thank all of you for coming out. The weather has turned again in the city of Buffalo. Earlier in the week it was 60 degrees. I think tonight it's about 28 or 30 degrees. I want to assure all of you that we have salted the roads in Buffalo. Yes, you can clap for that. Say their names, honor their legacies. I want to congratulate Dr. Barbara Seals Nevergold and Dr. Peggy Brooks Bertram for this tremendous work. I also want to congratulate my good friend Richard Blanc for his photographic partnership as part of this. Richard and I met many years ago when I was a member of the New York State Senate, and I made a presentation to businesses in Brooklyn about why they should relocate or open a second office in Buffalo. And I met Richard at that time in Brooklyn, and he was one of the few that actually relocated his business here, and he has been a tremendous addition to this community. Let's give him a round of applause. Dr. Bertram listed many of the things that the Uncrowned Queens Institute have been involved with. What she listed and so much more have these dynamic members of our community been involved with. They are some of our most precious jewels in the city of Buffalo, and they are our greatest historians in the city of Buffalo because they tell our stories. And this work, Say Their Names, Honor Their Legacies, really speaks to the urgency of telling the stories of elders in our community. I certainly want to recognize all of the elders that are being honored in this work. I want to thank you for sharing your important stories, and I want to thank you on behalf of the entire Buffalo community for what all of you have contributed to our community. This is a very special work. This is a very special night. And again, I want to say a special thank you to Dr. Barbara Seals Nevergold and Dr. Peggy Brooks Bertram. You can see from their presentation that this is heartfelt. This comes from their heart and their soul, and we thank you for sharing this with us.
My name is Danielle Roberts, and I'm the Vice President of Community Impact for YMCA Buffalo Niagara. And I've had the privilege to be on the board for Uncrowned Queens Institute, Uncrowned Community Builders since 2018. I count it a privilege and an honor to be able to serve and to lend my time and talents to this great organization. It's important that we continue to tell stories of our African American kings and queens who have made such a great impact in our community. I think this evening's presentation was phenomenal, being that it is Black History Month and being able to honor African Americans who have done such great things and honoring our elders in this community. What was beautiful about this evening is the different cultural backgrounds of people who were here to absorb the information and absorb the knowledge, and also the different generations of people. So for an organization to be able to tell the stories digitally, to see the photos this evening, it moved me emotionally. You're looking just at a picture, but a picture is more than 1,000 words. And then to be able to then get the interviews and then to see the people here together, coming together, different backgrounds, people from different walks of life, but still celebrating African American history. It was heartwarming, and it was phenomenal. I'm happy to be a part of it. The ribbon cutting in the moment, I feel like history in the making, you know, seeing our elders and the smiles on their faces, and then seeing people's responses. I was kind of sitting back and looking at how people responded and seeing the joy on their faces and seeing people take pictures with their pictures. Just the joy that it's bringing to people. I think this exhibit is not just telling the stories, not just sharing history, but it's bringing joy to our community, and it's a beautiful thing to be a part of.
What was just said, this is very important. History, and I'm amazed that I've gone around, even in recent years, how many young people in the Black community, African American children, know nothing about Dr. King. Nothing about the struggle we went through. I know I came here standing on people's shoulders without the support of many in the community. In my day, you answered to all the adults when they spoke to you. You didn't give them back talk, you didn't ignore them. You appreciated the fact that you had that kind of concern within the neighborhood picture. This is another occasion when those of us that are able can support them and support one another. I think it's very important we do that. I think this time, ladies, is an excellent opportunity for people not only to support what you do, but to do it with fervor. You know, we're not talking about $50. You need more money than that to do what you want to do successfully, because all the modern technology you must use to complete what you designed yourself to do takes money. We got some money. Some of us are sitting on it more than we should, because it's an opportunity to share that with other people. It's so important that you do that. And I want to close with just two quick things, and then I will shut my mouth and sit down. Be careful when you give a minister or a politician the mic, because seldom do they appreciate time frames. But what I'm going to say with you, for the first time to my knowledge, in the city of Buffalo, all of the historic organizations and people involved with that are doing a project together called Together as One. You may not know that, but it's a flyer out that has the handprints of people working together in all races and creeds under one guidance, where all the month of February, all of these agencies and organizations are featuring African American information, history, artifacts. To my knowledge, for the first time, it's kind of an idea that came out of Brother Bell's coordination with some of his people in the Buffalo African American Museum, which we're laying the groundwork for building an African American museum in the city of Buffalo. Very good. Now, Brother Bell is 93 now, will be 94 this year. And I got 2 or 3 good years to lay the groundwork for this. So we're going to be calling on some of you. So to look in the storage house, reach under the pillow, and behind the couch, because we're going to need some money too. So this is the most important feature. You know, people is what it's all about. It's not just you and me. It takes the efforts of all of us if we're ever to be free. Free to chase our dreams in life without hunger or despair, and free to help each other because we really care. It's getting closer to the end each day that passes by, and if people don't work together, then people are going to die. You see, the secret to success in life, that's not really a secret at all. If people would respect one another, it would tear down every wall. Congratulations to all your recipients. Thank you, God bless you.
Brother Bell, thank you. Perhaps you can lead the elders upstairs, so if we can all just hold for a moment so our elders and distinguished guests could first go up.